Good afternoon. Welcome to the Board of Trustees meeting this 21st of September, 2020, 3:30 in the afternoon. We have some other board members who are traveling, so they will be checking in with us as they can. Hi, Rebecca, you made it with, can you hear us okay?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent, okay. And I think Kathy Ann is also traveling, showing her daughter Elena, who is a senior in our school district college opportunities, so that's nice. Otherwise, glad to see everybody. Welcome to a new week in the village of Port Jefferson. Balmy fall, kind of like, pull the covers up and, keep the windows open for all that beautiful fresh air kind of weather that we're having. So our first order of business, this is our organizational meeting, which usually takes place in July. The reason for that is because the June election was postponed until September. So we did also then postpone our organizational meeting. So our agenda today is rather lengthy, but mostly just policies and appointments that we establish year after year to conduct village business. So we'll go through those as we come to them on the agenda. First order of business, however, is to approve our minutes from the August 17th meeting. Is that correct? No, well, I'm sorry. From the September 8th meeting. I apologize. And are there any corrections, additions, or amendments to the minutes as presented by Clerk Sakovich dated September 8th? From our board members. Everybody good? Stan, Bruce,
Good,
Rebecca.
good. Looks good.
Rebecca, you can't actually vote on them because you weren't actually a participant, but that's okay.
Correct.
Bruce, anything you see? You're good?
I'm good.
No more confusion with Bruce's now. That's good, right?
Yes.
All right. Second item is to approve our safety committee. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm getting all bumbled up here. Where am I? Where's my agenda?
Kathy Ann, if you can hear me, welcome. Secondly, control your mute on your end, please. And while you're speaking, please hit mute. Thank you.
Hey, actually, hey, Barb.
Yes, it's on page 3 of after all the appointments.
No, I see that. I'm just wondering, did you actually have the minutes? A resolution to approve the minutes?
Yes, that's number 1.
I just have business meeting up top of my agenda.
On page 3 is actual action items for today's
Oh, there it
meeting.
is. Okay. All right. So do you want to go over the organizational meeting and the appointees, or are you guys good with reading through the policy?
Good with it. I had one question about an appointee, like a position that I didn't see. I don't know if it's appropriate to ask that question now.
Absolutely.
I know that there's I don't know officially what it's called, but a youth board for Port Jefferson that I believe that you've been liaising with so far. Is that something that we want to officially add to this list, or is that something that you want to appoint a trustee to help with?
So I think, Kathy Ann has been the liaison to the school district, and we've just been working with the environmental club, and we didn't necessarily have an official appointed trustee position or liaison position to the youth organization. So it's not really anything formal that has been created in the past. So, because you'll be working with various clubs from the district and, environmental club to, booster clubs and things of that nature. So, and is Kathy Ann joined us yet, Kevin? Kevin?
Yeah, she hasn't joined us, yes.
Okay,
Say hello,
all
Kathy
right.
Ann.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hey, Kathy Ann. So did you hear Rebecca's question? Hi.
I did.
Okay,
Hi.
so I just to clarify with Rebecca that you have been the liaison to the school district, and you all often work with the booster club, and there's not been a liaison necessarily to the student body organization, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is that acceptable, Rebecca?
Sure. I'm just happy to volunteer to my experience working with youth I'm happy to step in, and if it helps to sort of give them more, more of a platform to step forward and be a part of the village by assigning the youth board a trustee, I'd be happy to do that, or if Kathy Ann officially did that, whoever. But we could speak about that for the future as well.
Yeah, you guys can, I think my point is you guys can sort it out depending on what the issue is. Because if you see that
Yeah.
Kathy Ann's not, there's not an official appointment for Kathy Ann to work with the school district either.
Okay, gotcha, perfect.
Okay, so.
Yeah, Rebecca and I we can get together, at a separate time and discuss it and, figure out how to move forward. And absolutely, I absolutely welcome the help and assistance for sure.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. So, has the other board members, have you had an opportunity to read the procurement policy? I think it's the same procurement policy that we've had adopted many years ago and revised over the course of the last several years. But I think it's really important to make a notation on the bottom of that policy after this organizational meeting and when these minutes are approved, to also say that that's been formally adopted again this year, 2020. Okay, guys? Joe and Barb?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So we approved the minutes of September 8th. We have a workplace violence policy that was also attached as an addendum to officially adopt and then to distribute to all of our employees. This is something that we have, we do on at least annual, or if not every other year basis. Joe and or Barb, do you want to add anything to that at this point in time?
This was a recommendation from our insurance carrier. The village did have a workplace violence paragraph, if you will, on its records. The insurance carrier had recommended that we create a more comprehensive policy related to workplace violence. So with the help of the insurance carrier, who's Comp Alliance, and Brian Egan and his staff, we were able to come up with this current policy that's before you for adoption today.
Thank you. And thank you, Brian, for your participation. Number 3 is a contract or work award. DF Stone is it the town list, Joe? Or county?
Yes, town.
Okay, great. This is for the drainage project that's been an ongoing project being overseen by the Building and Planning Department with Joe's now involvement, getting the contractor on board. This is a drainage easement that that when the properties were built on top up on Longfellow, the drainage easement was deeded over to the village for maintenance, which we only discovered, I think, about a year ago or so after significant stormwater runoff and damage to that drainage easement. So approving this work product with DF Stone here will get that work well underway. And if you recall, this was one of our ban expenditures to make sure that this important drainage area is maintained as it flows down Brook and ends up at the bottom of Brook and crosses over to Mill Creek. So it's an important drainage easement that has to be rebuilt. Any questions on that particular item?
The only thing I need to add there, Mayor, is we are going to need, I believe, a few waivers from some of the property owners because some of the construction will require us to enter or extend over our current easement in that location.
Okay.
I believe Allison is preparing that waiver. I'm sure she's going to be sharing that with Brian as soon as the language is complete. I asked DF Stone how long they thought the project would take, and they said somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks, weather permitting.
Good. All right. And you'll just let us know when everything's in place and when you have a start date in order.
Yes.
Thank you. We had a staffer for the village election to help fill in. As the election approached, there were some of the prior approved election workers that had called in not able to attend or not feeling well enough to attend. So we have the late addition of Carolyn Benson. And thank you, Carolyn, for helping us out here in the village. We have a application for some small October events. One of the things the village is not doing is our annual Harvest Fest, which was usually in the past, a wildly successful and very popular event. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we are not able to hold that event, which in the years past had been the chowder crawl. We had a wood carver, some haunted tours, and the most popular item was the pet costume parade that would come down East Main and Main. So we are not able to have that event, but the chamber is sponsoring some smaller events that will sprinkle through the month of October on various Saturdays with rain dates on Sundays. And that is to help our merchants and to help, create a little activity down here in the good weekends where the weather is still supportive of, local tourism. The application in my review looked complete, and there is no need to close down any of our streets. All the other events are going to be held, one in the Chandler Square property and the other on the property which is privately owned outside of the barn on that patio area that they have on East Main. So the only thing that might require additional code enforcement is the 2 Saturdays that involve the horse-drawn carriage. And that will be a pre-sign up on Eventbrite, so that'll be well controlled, and all events will follow COVID guidelines set by the state. Are there any questions on the chamber's application?
No question.
Okay. We have a salary correction item, number 6, just a clerical correction. And we had one of our Village Center part-timers who also act as the part-time Village Center manager, Mr. Bob Hodem, is moving on in his retirement years. We want to thank Bob. He was a really great addition to our team at Village Center, added a lot of spirit, and was responsible for that fantastic Halloween event that we had when we converted the Village Center into a haunted mansion. So Bob, we thank you for your years of service to this community, and we wish you well in your retirement and hope to see that Volkswagen van of yours down at Dune Road or somewhere exciting. We have some warrants as presented by the treasurer and deputy treasurer and approved, I think, from our internal claims auditor. Everything there looked in good order to me. I did not have any questions. And Denise, did you have any other comments that you wanted to add? You're good?
No, everything's standard, normal.
Okay, good. I don't believe we have any other action items this evening or this afternoon. Am I correct?
Yes,
Okay,
you're
so
correct.
Correct.
I'll make a motion then to approve 1 through 8.
Need comment?
Comment, Bruce?
Yes, it appears that I have been stripped of numerous committees. The ARC, Architectural Review Committee, and the Conservation Advisory Committee. I had argued in the past that these committees had been involved in the process of input for development that occurs within Port Jefferson. This has not happened in a very long time. I would hope the new liaisons would be able to get information from the Planning Committee board in a timely fashion so that input can be provided at the beginning of a process rather than the tail end of the process, as with the Port Jeff Crossing project.
Agreed. Kathy Ann had requested, and Kathy Ann, you've been assigned the ARC. Are you willing to take on that challenge?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, and Rebecca, you're a educated environmentalist, correct? Is that not your profession?
Yes, my degree is in environmental studies, and I worked in the field for over 10 years.
So that's I assigned you the Conservation Advisory Committee, because that committee is going to be doing all of the flood research, and I'm handing the ball to you on the flood study to work with them directly, and the Environmental Club on some of those other issues. So you're confident you can get that done for us, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Bruce, you and I are still going to work on LIPA. I don't have an official liaison appointment for LIPA. Well, I'm happy to put that on the agenda for you. That seems to be your forte. You carry the ball very well on that, overseeing that on a day to day,
Alright.
week to week, month to month basis. And you
Okay.
still have parking. So please, we have a lot of green belts and parks and things that need attention. So we trust that that will keep you busy. I had a motion on the table to approve 1 through 8. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, trustee Laux, and all in favor? Aye.
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 Thanks, Kathy Ann. I just have a few things to report. I know that we've had a lot of activity here in the village. Our code enforcement team has been hard at work. And we've had a lot of congregation of groups. They are congregating on private property. So our code enforcement bureau and Suffolk County Police are doing their best to keep those groups, safe and, not interfering in their right to congregate on private property or their freedom of speech opportunities. But I trust that our code enforcement bureau is working really hard. I know we had some incidences with the bikers and also some activities this weekend with a young adult riding a quad down the street, and in his attempt to get away, he basically rode the quad into the creek. So the quad was confiscated. He was written up by Suffolk and by our code enforcement bureau. Kathy Ann and I and Joe Palumbo had a conference call last week with Inspector Riley and Kara Hahn, talking about our concerns about the young adults on bikes still causing a lot of disturbance to our residents and our businesses, and understand that if they are 15 years and younger, we cannot write them. We cannot do anything but call their parents and try and discipline them, but there's no official action we can take against them. We discussed this with Suffolk, and we're hoping that Suffolk is also doing their best to support our team. We talked about, some events that had happened in the village and how Suffolk was present and protecting our community. And Kathy Ann, what was the third item? It was the kids, the parade, and what was the third item? Oh, it was we have a local. Recently, there's a organized group of young people, I guess, or they're targeting our homes and stealing cars, folks. They're looking for high-end cars. You must please lock all your vehicles, and you must now lock your homes at night. There are a lot of people in distress, and this team of people was coming over from Bridgeport, organized, looking for high-end cars. I know our friend Brendan Duffy did recuperate one of his cars. It was found in Bridgeport. Suffolk County has made some arrests with that particular group, but we're just urging all of our residents. We're in a crazy time right now, and with COVID, and a lot of people are still out of work and unemployment getting cut back. There are a lot of people who are, hungry, who are looking for money, who are, have some substance abuse issues. And so you must keep your homes locked and your cars and your driveways locked at all times. Do not leave your keys in the vehicles. We heard from Suffolk County Inspector Riley that many of the cars that have been stolen, the doors are open and the keys are sitting there right in the to-go cups, in the holsters. So you gotta lock your vehicles and bring all your keys and valuables into the house, please. I cannot underestimate that. Joe Palumbo and I had a kickoff meeting with the NIPA group for our lighting project. We're going to see construction and replacement of our lighting systems happening in the next couple of weeks, which is great news. And we have a lot of forward advancement on our capital projects, which I'll report to you at the next meeting. Bruce Miller had asked if I would quickly report on Uptown, the crossings. Is that the name of the project? The crossings, the Conifer project was.
Port Jefferson Crossings.
Thank you. Port Jefferson Crossings was given a conditional planning board approval last Thursday night. I have not seen the written approval. I do not know what the conditions are at this time. I'm hoping when that's published, we can circulate it amongst the board. That means that they will be working on moving towards getting a building permit and more than likely applying for a demolition permit. We are also working with PSCNG on the location of the utility box and burying the utility lines in conjunction with that project, and also coordinating the installation of Station Street. So that project is underway with conditional approval by the planning board as of last Thursday night. At one of the next few board meetings, we will be discussing the recreation fee that the village does seek from the applicant based on the number of apartments and the scope of that project. So we will be having that discussion. At this time, there are no other formal applications submitted to the Building and Planning Department for any further projects uptown. We do expect a application to be submitted in the very near future, probably 30, 60 days, for a project on the corner of North Country Road and Main, where the Lobster House restaurant is located. That is going to be for another mixed use retail and apartment building. That project is being proposed by the Gito organization. I don't know if the name of that particular project, but there are no formal applications at this time. I can also then just further add that the Conifer organization that is building Port Jeff Crossings is in discussion with some of the other uptown property owners. We had Walnut Hills, which was the Gito organization, come to the village of Port Jefferson about 18 months ago with plans to build on the north corner of Perry and the south corner of Perry. I do not believe that they're going to be moving those applications forward, but Mr. Alan Handelman of Conifer is talking to the property owners, and I think he had a conference call with Allison last week to talk about, the master plan and master developer opportunities that were awarded based on an RFQ, which we filed, I think, 3 years ago. And we only had, I think, 2 master developers approved or submit based on that RFQ, which was Walnut Hills, and I think it was Parvis, correct, Brian Egan?
That's right, Mayor.
Yeah. So right now there are no other formal projects being actively pursued at this time by an applicant and the Building and Planning Department. Does that help you, Bruce?
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. And with that, I'm going to pass the ball to Stan. I know you have some things going on up at the Country Club.
Yeah,
Deputy Mayor Laux.
I have quite a bit that I would like to report on. First off, the results of our early bird membership drive. We picked up 41 new golf members. We picked up 19 new tennis members. That brings our numbers up considerable. This past weekend, I had the pleasure, and I know that Margot was there also, to go to the Country Club. I think, Bruce, I think you made it also.
Yes.
They concluded their club championships this past weekend, and I want to give special thanks to Eric, our pro, and some more special thanks to the tennis board, who organized and ran an excellent tournament. Those of us that attended feel like we were at the US Open. It was terrific. They had a chair umpire. They had an announcer there. They had ball boys and girls and much, much more. A great job done by everyone involved. And I want to mention the champions of the many different categories. And as I go through these, you can see how much work went into this tournament. The women's singles champion was Christine O'Reilly. The men's single champion in the age bracket 60 and over was Kaz Haraskaka. The men's open singles was David Desmond. The men's singles 70 and over was Pat Monaco. Ladies 3.5 doubles. Now that 3.5 is the degree of difficulty. 3.5 is a pretty good caliber of tennis. The ladies 3.5 doubles champions were Chris Adams and Christine O'Reilly. The ladies 3.0 doubles, Joanne Gerke and Grace Lafataldo. Men's doubles 60 and over, Leo Sternlick. Leo's been a champion up there for years. And Steve Wilkins. Mixed doubles open, again, Leo Sternlick with Dana Ang, our present board president, tennis board president. Ladies doubles open. The open event was Mary Lafitte and Misha Manachicolo. Mixed doubles, Rob Kasserman and Susie Kasserman. Almost done here. Men's doubles, the open category, again, Leo Sternlick and Richard Card. And finally, the men's doubles, Pat Monaco and Sean Phillips. So you can see by the number of championships that they ran, they did an awful great job this year. On the golf side of the country club, the golf course has completed its fall aeration process. We're now open 7 days each week. Since we have lost many of our outings due to the COVID restrictions, we have opened up every Monday and Thursday as guest days. Members can bring up to 3 guests for a special price. From the Recreation Department and the Village Center, the Farmers Market still outdoors every Sunday at Harborfront Park. We're running the before and after school programs morning and afternoon at the Village Center. We have some free adult fitness programs going on at the Joe Erlin Field every morning at 9 o'clock. If you're interested in becoming fit, you can go up there every morning. We've also started an indoor fitness program at the center. If you've been up to the center, you can see that the Rinks has already put up their sideboards. November will be here before you know it. They're getting ready for the skating. We've also started some programs in basketball, tennis, taekwondo. These programs you can still register for. We will be starting a baking and etiquette class next month at the center. And finally, we're still limited with regards to the rentals at the center, and many programs that usually run at the center have been restricted because of the COVID. It's been a very difficult 6 months, 8 months, but I'm happy to report we've had minimal reports of any illnesses coming out of our programs. I want to thank all of the participants, the positive cooperation of all of the members and the participants in our programs, and the understanding of the restrictions. Everyone continues to be diligent, and hopefully we can continue on. Thank you.
Very nice report, Stan. Thank you so much. I just want to go back. I think I made a mistake in the order of the agenda. I would like to make a motion to approve the organizational meeting as presented, and I need a second for that and a vote.
I'll second that.
Oh,
Okay, so I have a second with Trustee Cassay and a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Brian, for bringing that to my attention. So moving on, I'd like a report from Mr. Miller. Bruce?
I've had some contacts with Steve Englebright, and this is in regard to the Metropolitan Transportation Agency. Proposed in their budget is the desire to purchase diesel engines to replace existing diesel engines. Kara Hahn as well, I was on a Zoom with them. There is opposition to this by Steve and Kara, myself. This, we believe would represent a giant setback for electrification for Port Jefferson. We'll agree that there should be some multi-fuel kinds of engines that would include electric. So that's about what I have to report tonight. I'm going to give a report to the in writing to the Conservation Advisory Committee.
So, and Bruce, are Kara and Steve asking for any kind of letters of support or any action for the village to take?
Well, I think they would always be welcome and always be desirable. Let me put it to you that way. There wasn't a specific ask.
Okay,
I had commented that in this moment of fiscal crisis, a lot of state departments are going to be operating with less than their ideal budgets, and maybe this purchase of diesel engines could be one of the items that got deselected from the MTA budget.
okay, we'll follow up. Trustee Snaden, Kath?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So as liaison to parking committee, I will give a quick update on the Barnum lot, which is moving along as expected, and we have an end of November completion date and seem to be on target for that. So all is going well there. The parking committee is strongly recommending and asking that I bring to the board the following proposal for parking along West Broadway, which runs essentially between the intersection at Main Street through to Barnum, which would include metering those spots, but for the first year, for the rest of this year, have it be free parking with a 2-hour time limit on those spots. Currently, there is no time limit. It's an unlimited time limit for those parking spots, which are the only parking spots in the village with an unlimited time allowance at this point. So that would be free for the first year, but a 2-hour time limit imposed on that. Next year, they are recommending, again, the first hour free, and then prevailing rates per hour after that with a digital metering system, as we are starting to head towards on our other lots that are around the village that seems to be working quite well. So, Margot, I don't know how you want to handle that, if we have to vote on that, if you guys want more discussion, if you have questions, please advise on how to proceed with that.
So just to clarify, this year they want to institute a 2-hour parking limit, but no fee associated with that. And as Brian's
Correct.
getting his code book out to look up the street, but next year have it not limited to any, because basically you're saying the first hour free, but then after that they can pay and they can stay as long as they want. So it seems like something that would have to be taken in progression or two code changes. Am I correct, Brian?
Yes, Mayor. So on time limit parking under 245-23 of the code, the board can set that limit by resolution if they want to do it tonight.
Right, and so we can take care of making parking on West Broadway from the three-way intersection up to, and I believe what you meant by that was Brook, Kathy Ann, or is it just Barnum? Because I don't believe there. I think it's just Barnum.
I think it's to Barnum. After that, you have the shipyard and now the new construction, and I don't believe there's any spots marked there.
Right, I think there's just a few spaces in front of the bakery and the bank.
Correct. Yeah.
So we can pass by resolution setting for this year to expire at the 12/31 date, 2-hour parking, and thereafter they're going to get a parking, violation or a parking ticket, just like they would on any of our other streets where restricted parking is enforced. Is the board prepared to do that? Because then I think next year we have to do a separate resolution to have it now put into the managed parking system with, and I hate to hear if anything's free. So it would be, we would figure out the wording for that second resolution at the time that we need it.
Well,
So do you want to?
point of inquiry?
Sure.
The with the first for the next step, the first hour free, is that a difficult thing to monitor?
It's a very good question, because I would imagine it would be, because when do they actually pay?
So I think, you know, it really, I'll leave this to Kevin, but it's really going to be it's going to be a system issue.
A systems issue.
So
Right.
if I could weigh in, if that's
Sure,
okay.
please, absolutely.
So looking into this, it is possible that you would invoke the first hour and there would be no cost. Or for example, if you knew you were going to be out of town for 4 hours, you could invoke 4 hours and only pay for 3. It is possible. In either case, you'd be sort of checking into the parking space digitally.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess just as a person who uses one or two of those parking spaces regularly to stop at the bakery, I'm just wondering if those. I know that's probably one of the only businesses that has sort of quick pickup. I don't know what's going to go in at the fish market and McDonald's. I know that they have a little bit of parking on private property there, but just thinking forward to those businesses that might want quick access and easy access as far as people stopping for quick pickups and not saying, oh gosh, I don't want to patronize that business anymore because I'm going to have to check into a parking spot to pick up my takeout.
So system-wide, we have a 10-minute grace already in place.
That's great to know. Thank you, Kevin.
Right, and I think to the point, Rebecca, now that those spots are not, you know, there is no restriction. You could park there all day if you needed, if you wanted to. So I think, you know, instituting the changeover will help those businesses make sure that those spots are not taken by, you know, somebody day tripping across the sound or something other.
Without a doubt. Thank you.
Okay.
And those
So
are the complaints that I've been receiving, is that the spots are full all day long with the same vehicles. You know, like you said, day tripping or whatever it may be, that they're not moving. So I think
That's okay.
this will help the businesses. Yeah.
Great. So, but we also then need to get signage done. And if the powers that be, Joe and Kevin, if you want to work out just temporary signage situation for the end of the year, that'd be fine. You know, so that, you know, we're not spending exorbitant monies on permanent signage that we know is maybe going to get replaced.
Yes, Mayor. I'll work with Kevin and if necessary, Steve at DPW.
Thank you very much. So I think motion is on the table from Trustee Snaden as a recommendation from the parking committee to institute 2-hour parking on West Broadway from the 3-way intersection up to Barnum on the south side of the road, correct?
South side.
Kathy Ann? I think we just lost Kathy Ann.
May have lost it. Yep.
Okay, so I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oh, Kathy Ann, do we have you back? Hold on, Kathy
I'm sorry?
Ann, do we have you back?
Yes.
Okay, because I just made the motion because we thought we lost you. The motion carried. Did you want to vote in favor of that motion?
I did. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, Bruce, you have a comment to make?
Yes. When first proposed, the parking lot on Barnum was supposed to have substantial plantings, and essentially what is left is an area that's got a lot of parking and very few trees and vegetation. I've got comments from residents regarding this.
Well, there is a planting plan in place, which will be completed when, you know, all the hardscape is in. There's a buffer, and we plan on planting, I believe it's arborvitae, is that correct, Brian? I mean,
Yeah,
Kevin?
Definitely. There's a full
Yes.
vegetation screening plan in place.
There are, Bruce, there are hundreds of small shrubs to medium-sized shrubs that will be planted on the Barnum side. There are going to be a significant number of screening shrubs that will be planted along Carolyn there, and several trees on the Barnum side as well. And after the project is complete, if there's any openings or holes where we may have to fill in, we will certainly look into that and do so where appropriate.
All right, thank you. I know that I had seen the original plan, and I just wanted to make sure we were continuing with that. Thank you.
And just also as a punctuation point to that, the sign for the Joe Erlin Ball Field will also be installed at a visible, prevalent location when we have everything completed. So, Kathy Ann, you're going to continue with your report, please. So you're on.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As liaison to the Code Enforcement Bureau, as the mayor has already gone over our discussions with the recent happenings in the village, our meeting with Kara Hahn and Inspector Riley. One of the things that Kara Hahn had suggested, and I am fully on board with, and I'm willing to take on the research and getting one started, is a neighborhood watch group. I'm not familiar with how they work, but I am looking into how to get that started and how to involve the community in that. And I think it would be beneficial for our village and helpful for community members to get more involved in the topics that concern them. So that's something I will be able to hopefully report further on at the next meeting. And as liaison to, you're welcome. And as liaison to the Zombie Task Force, a quick update on that things are still going very well with our task force. Houses are being monitored. There has been no new activity. There have been houses put on the market, and things are going very well with that task force. So a big thank you to our code department, Chief Lute, and our Zombie Task Force for staying on top of those homes. Makes a big difference to our residents and their quality of life issues. So thank you very much. And that concludes my report.
Kathy, I just have a question for you. Is there any progress on the sheep pasture home with the state? I know the home was, or the property I should say, was placed on the National Registry of Historic Places, but have we advanced anything further on that?
Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, not me either. Not that I'm aware of after the home had been put on the historic registry. Rich is not in the meeting, is he?
No, I don't think so. Rich Harris is not
okay.
On board. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's get an update from
yep.
The people at the state and Rich, so we can report on the house on sheep pasture. Because as we all know, when the cold weather starts to come, that's when
right.
we may have disturbances to that property again.
Yeah, it's on my list of things to discuss with Rich for my meeting with him this week.
Okay, thank you so much, and safe travels on the road.
Thank you.
Rebecca, our newest. Hi.
Hello, thank you. Let me know if the road noise is too much. I couldn't help but be outside on this beautiful day. Thank you first, Village, for having me as your newest trustee. Very excited to be here and work with these wonderful people of the local government to represent the villagers here and make the most of this wonderful place we live and the most of all of you as well. I've already gotten started prior to today and would like to share with you some of those action items that I've had going on. First, I'd like to say I'm looking forward to meeting the current members of the CAC and the Planning Board and helping, as Bruce said, to help the application process include environmental impact and as Trustee Snaden will do, the ARC's input as well early in the process, so that any uptown development is both as beautiful and minimally impactful on our environment as possible. So I know that the trustees, we do everything that we can, and I look forward to being one of those who does such. One of my strongest suits is working with young people. That's something I've done for, again, over a decade with environmental work. And so whoever doesn't know it yet, our environmental club at the high school here in Port Jefferson is phenomenal. Those young people are great, great leaders, not even leaders of the future, they're leaders of today. And I'm really looking forward to working with them on projects we've already been discussing. If you haven't been down to the farmers market, you should go for any number of reasons. But one of the greatest is to visit their booth there. They've been repurposing glass bottles. They turn them into either oil dispensers, like olive oil dispensers, or little lights, and sell them, and the money goes to environmental causes. And so you can go and chat with them. I've been meeting with them every Sunday and talking about what they want to accomplish in the village. we as older people have less energy and our plates are full of all these things to do, and young people have an incredible amount of energy and really great ideas, sometimes greater ideas than us on this meeting right now. And so I'm really looking forward to harnessing that energy and those ideas for the village, both in the environmental club and other clubs in the school, working with Trustee Snaden again to reach into that. So so far I've learned that the environmental club really is big on recycling. There's some plans that I've been looking into as well. More to come there. I would like to invite them to come to the CAC meetings as well. To my knowledge, there's no age restriction. And so why not have them be a part of that process? The more that they learn about the place they live and have the impact on it, then the greater we all are. Upcoming that I'm sure they'll be in attendance and everyone can be in attendance are the beach cleanups with Coastal Steward, October 4th and Saturday, October 10th as well. I look forward to liaising with them. One of my big projects I'm going to really get right on, and coincidentally I've sat on another board with the consultant that the village has been working with, is to check on the status of bluff stabilization, especially there at East Beach, and begin a consistent push on this project to see where we're at, where we're going, and make sure we get there as efficiently as possible. I know that the current board and government, the mayor, has been pushing, but with everything else that you've heard on this meeting and more, there's only so much that so many people can do. I'm really excited to join the team and be the person to lead up that project. So that's going to be one of mine. And then another project that I've been working a lot on is an interactive sculpture project with one of our great residents, Karen, who works up at Stony Brook University. We've been collaborating with a professor there and her students, as well as some graduate students, to create a sculpture that will collect recycling and inform more residents, visitors, inform them about the importance of recycling, but also practically collect the recycling as well, and be yet another beautiful thing in our village. So that is what I've got today.
Thank you so much. Very exciting. Love the energy. And yes, we need help with the DEC. I think we've given you some documents, have we not, to kind of look into? Great, Rebecca. We really appreciate your help and poking those people once or twice a week. Mr. Egan, anything to report to us?
Good afternoon, Mayor. We had a meeting last week with Village Administrator Palumbo, Ms. Riley from the Tax Receiver's Office, and Mr. D'Amato, our tax receiver, our assessor, I should say, with LIPA to sort out some lingering tax issues to clean those up. We continue to monitor the Huntington situation. They do not have a stage-ready document. So they're working through their process. As soon as they finally dot the I's and cross the T's, they'll have something for us to look at. But that's really all my report. The only thing I just want to add is congratulations and welcome. Congratulations, Mr. Miller, on your reelection. And congratulations, Trustee Kasey. We look forward to working with you on the board, and welcome.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And we have Administrator Palumbo. Joe, anything to report?
I do not have anything significant to report for this meeting today, but everything is moving forward with respect to our capital projects, and hopefully I'll have more to report on those at our next meeting.
Thank you, Joe. And Clerk Sakovich, nicely done on your first election. Congratulations on getting through that.
Thank you.
It's a very, very long day that you signed up for. It starts at 6 a.m. and ends at 9 p.m. and then the collection of the results and managing the personnel. So congratulations, Barbara. Job well done.
Thank you. And today I had the honor of administering the oath of office to both Bruce Miller and Rebecca Kasey. So that was a wonderful day. And our next meeting is October 5th. That's our public meeting at 7 p.m.
And at this point, Brian, we still are under the executive order for remote meetings. And more than likely, it'll continue to be our Zoom style meeting. I understand at the last meeting, there was a little confusion about participation for questions. People thought, putting a hand up like this was something we could see. So I think, Kevin, can we talk a little bit about, we're going to ask people to write in advance their questions. How are we going to make sure people are able to participate?
Most
Did I lose
likely,
Kevin?
we're most
Okay.
likely to do a registration ahead of time. I realize people can come on real time. We will ask them most of all to look down at the chat so they can see those written instructions. We'll just try to make
Okay.
it easy. We'll also put it on both pages, virtual meetings and the YouTube page. So it'll be in
Okay,
several
good.
different places.
Yeah, and also just a reminder, guys, please make sure, I know we're all, got our hands full, but make sure you're posting everything to our Facebook, feeding our announcements to our social media people for posting on our Facebook pages and posting everything up to the website as well for full transparency. I appreciate that. And with that, I don't believe we have anything for executive session this evening either, but I do see a hand from Trustee Laux.
Yeah, I don't know if we should be discussing this in executive session, but I do have some questions relating to the contract down at the Waterview.
Brian?
Yeah, why don't we take that offline? I don't think it necessarily needs an executive session right now, but Stan, I know you have some questions. I'm happy to answer those for you.
Okay.
Okay, so with that, I'm sorry. So we're just gonna end the meeting and we're gonna go offline? Okay.
No, I think end the meeting. I'll have a separate conversation with Stan. I kind of know I probably know what his status of his questions are.
Okay. So I make a motion then to adjourn the meeting at 4:23.
I'll
Second.
second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye.